Okay. Good evening, everybody. I hope that this time our reception and internet is working and we don't have some kind of disco party happening outside our window and not in the sky above us either. So the non-dual piece in us greets the non-dual piece in you. That old chestnut piece, which each week we meditate on at the end, but which it feels always worthwhile to circle back to. In a way, one could devote a whole series of lifetimes to this quality of peace. It's so utterly primal and so incredibly powerful in its effect. And partly because there is, just bear with me, I'll show later why it's powerful, but partly why it's so incredibly powerful. That it's so powerful explains why it can be so torturous in this dynamic where peace is lost, the sense of peace is lost, and we go into war and surrender, dynamics of war and surrender. So there is this peace, which is behind our eyes, within our sensitivity of our fingertips, it's within our hearts, but the backdrop of everything, like the sky behind the clouds, like the space between all things. It sounds like silence, but silence is its own kind of language, its own kind of music. It's here, this unconditional peace. If we believe in life before birth, it's here before we're born. It's here through what can be the traumatic birth process. In the background, so loud, so apparent. It's here through all of the changes, childhood, this explosion of growth, this metamorphosis, where the baby becomes a child and the child becomes a teenager, oops, and the teenager becomes an adult. In the background, through all of that, there is this peace. And it's not a dead thing. It's not a stale, empty gap. It's not an absence. It's a presence. It's that which allows us to experience anything at all. Even what allows consciousness to arise and vary in its vibration, to expand or to disband. It's there whether or not we're aware. You can be aware that we're aware, and we can be aware of peace, but the peace is there anyway. It doesn't care. It's utterly unconditional. And this peace being unconditional means that it is part of the existential backdrop of the mind. It's what allows thought, what allows perception. It's what allows the processing of feeling. Because there's a spatial dimension to it and a timeless dimension to it. It's what allows us to experience a physical sensation. The peace is there before I have an itch in my hand, during the itch in my hand, and after the itch in my hand has passed. It's a direct doorway through the center of the head or through the center of the heart or through the bones of the body, a direct doorway into the dimension of true nature. And it supports the experience of the whole of true nature. Without this aspect of peace, true nature could not be. And when we get caught, when we lose that connection with that dimension of true nature, one of the things that comes forward is this psychology of war. This is partly what's causing us to disconnect, but also it's an effect of the shock of disconnection. So moving into form, moving into physical life can be a little bit of a traumatic process. And it's very easy in that traumatic process of moving into manifesting life into the physical, that we blame life for the experience of life. We go to war with life. And in going to war with life, it's like we are conflicting with the aspect of life. And what's asked for is to be at peace with being alive. You see, it's even in that primal layer, peace is the game changer. So peace is unconditionally here, like the sky above us, which we so much take for granted, like the space between objects in the room, which we so much take for granted, like the incredible space of our own presence here, in the here and now, which we so much take for granted. It's unconditionally here, and it's unconditional, meaning it's free of agenda. It's not here as an instrument of power, which serves an agenda, which is conditioned by the world, meaning I can only be at peace when I know I will live forever, or I can only be at peace when there's no war here. I can only be at peace when the ignorance of this humanity is cleared up. I can only be at peace when these conditions based on time and space. I can only be at peace in Glastonbury. I can't be at peace in Israel. I have no peace there when I look over there. Or the other way around. I can only be at peace with this government. I can't be at peace when there's that government. I can only be at peace when everybody thinks like I do. These are all conditions which pull us out of our center, pull us out of this dimension of peace, where we start dictating when peace can be and when peace cannot be, and how much peace there should be and where the peace should be. And then we wonder why it doesn't feel like peace anymore. You see what we do? We loop away from ourselves and then we complain about it and blame true nature in whatever forms, or life, or kindness, freedom, innocence, purity, all of this awful stuff with which we have no peace, which cannot be here, this agenda. And then it gets confused with compassion. Oh, if you have peace with suffering in the world, then you have no compassion. If you have peace with suffering inside yourself, then you're just giving up. You're surrendering. So it's an extremely powerful quality, which is so tragically misconceived to the extent that we dictate peace. We demand it. We go to war for it. We force surrender for it. We play with it. We want a prize for it. Because how could anybody live without a Nobel Prize for peace, right? Especially when facing a witch hunt. Sorry, it's irresistible. And it's a cliche almost to say peace comes from within. And it's a cliche partly because it's not entirely true. Peace isn't only within, peace is within, it's in the middle, it's out there, it's in here, it's everywhere. If we open up to the continuous nature of our own awareness, of our own consciousness. Everywhere where we are, the peace is there. And yet we lose it so quickly. And partly we lose it quickly from this place of pain and fear and threat. It's like this psychology of war breeds more of itself. And the psychology of war says that you should be afraid. Be afraid to feel, be afraid to live. Be afraid of peace. If you move into peace, it's like killing your children. It's devastating betrayal. It's like sacrificing your country. What happens if, war is declared on your country and there's a vicious, heinous attack and you just say, okay, peace? What kind of treachery is that? So you'll be socially excluded. You'll be hated. So you need to make a conditional peace, a peace which is there after justice is served. A peace is there only when we feel safe enough, rich enough. Past, present, and future. So the oil supply should also be safe. So we can't have peace until we know that we have enough oil supply to gas the whole planet. So many conditions, so many ways to cut it off. And what are we talking about? Presence in the here and now. An experience. It's not a thing. The thing which we're led to believe it is, but the war, the psychology of war that comes forward, the kill or be killed, the might is right, the shout louder until the other one shuts up, be more violent with bigger weapons, bigger guns, faster, more brutal, more decisive. This psychology of war, this we notice. This is surrendering people all over the world, cutting their lives short. But also inside ourselves, we're hypnotized into this basic biochemistry of fear and danger and threat. That if we don't fight, we'll lose our light. That we have to be constantly on alert for the danger which is around us, which will come tomorrow. And the danger we don't have to be specific. It's whatever shit happened in the past to us, whatever pain we experienced, whatever horrors has been endured by us or even by our ancestors, whatever spooks us out, this thing will come if we don't obey, if we don't go to war. And this forces us into a kind of surrender. It forces us into a kind of surrender to our own state of half happy, half alive suffering. It forces us into a kind of surrender to ever really connecting with other people, ever really belonging, ever really feeling the miracle of meeting each other through the physical. Giving it up, better, we have to think like everybody else thinks. It's not worth the conflict. You're a woman and you're at home and, your husband wants you to bring him tea and to do the washing up. And, in the end of the day, it's just tea and washing up. So do the washing up and do the tea for the sake of the peace. Surrender. Avoiding conflict. But on the other stage, we can say, okay, let's burn all the bras and let's be like super militant. Let's go to war. Let's rage against the machine. And that just doesn't seem to produce any peace either. It seems to circulate shadow stuff, violence, hatred. Maybe even the substance of those nightmares that we're trying to avoid. Only now we go from victim to perpetrator in the name of righteousness. So this dynamic of war and surrender, it's playing out, dividing us from each other, dividing us from the planet, which somehow became the enemy, this physical dimension. Go figure. Well, this incredible source of peace became the thing which we think takes our peace away. You can't trust nature. You can't trust nature as it shows up with global warming. You can't trust the climate. You can't trust the earth. You can't trust your body. No peace with it. You can't trust it. You can't find peace with being physically alive, because the moment you're in it, it kicks you off, it dies. So why would you have peace with something so incredibly unreliable? But on the other hand, why would you have peace with something which it seems might catch us and keep us there? That we get trapped in this dirty, unholy place of the physical body. Again, no peace. We think we have peace with God, with the universe. But do we feel it? Because I know that when people die, one of the most comforting things that someone can say is, okay, they're at peace now, they are with God. And they say that as two separate things. Which is interesting, because could it be that the peace that which is inside of us is also the God that's inside of us, and it's a kind of oneness which happens, and that we weren't at peace with God. We weren't at peace with whatever is this mysterious intelligence which brought us here, this will, this need, this force, this mysterious force which moves through the whole universe of which we are a part. Apparently, we don't have peace with that either. Not really. Why not? Because if we really make peace with God, then it's like we're surrendering to all the pain and suffering which is here. Again, the psychology of war and surrender. And when we suffer, especially when our worst nightmare comes forward as an experience, which it will, because that which we project into the future and run from, we so often run towards. And as we run towards it, sooner or later, for the sake of peace, it will take form. And when it comes forward, what do we do with it? Even if it comes forward just as a fear, what do we do with this core fear, this worst nightmare? Do we go to war with it? Do we fight the experience? Do we surrender to it? Do we just say, okay, that's just how it is? We go into apathy. What do we do with our worst nightmare? Or maybe something else is going on. Maybe there's a little bit of an opportunity when something comes forward in the field of experience with which we've been threatened our whole lives, and now here it is, and we are dealing. Maybe now that we're dealing, we can begin healing, because there is the possibility then of actually experiencing that thing, and in experiencing it, coming to peace with this aspect of suffering, that it's allowed to be here. Very sober. And then our good friends come to us and says, no, you should fight against this. You should fight against this. But if we fight against this, it's like it's invalidating our experience. What happened to the integrity and the authenticity of what we are directly experiencing? Why would we fight against what we are experiencing? And from the other side, our good friends come to us and say, you should surrender to this. Just surrender to it. Go with the flow. Let it go. It is what it is. Also here, why would we do that? Why would we surrender to what is we are in the moment as a direct experience, to what we are made of? Why would we try to change it, what we're feeling, this way or that way? Why can't the pain just be the pain as it is, in its uniqueness, in its authenticity, in its reality? Why do we have to do something with it? And between this circulation, all about getting rid of an experience, or getting rid of a living aspect of war and surrender, in that moment of allowance, and it's not even allowance, it's just singularity, experiencing what we feel directly, because that's what is there in the moment. In that moment, that's the moment where there can be that shift, where there can be this sense of peace beyond belief, peace beyond the mind, peace beyond understanding, peace which is suddenly there, it can be like a blanket of peace or an uprising of peace or a prevalence of peace, which is so unconditional, it's almost like it doesn't care about this suffering too much. And yet so incredibly resourceful in terms of being able to be in this experience without changing a thing. It's like this vast, boundless, spacious, timeless aspect of ourselves we tap into. Maybe we're at one with the big awareness at that moment or the big true nature. It doesn't matter, but it feels like a frequency which allows us to live in freedom, which allows the purity of the experience, which allows the innocence within the experience, which allows the pain within the experience, which allows the thing to move, which allows the thing to come to life. It's not like there's a moment of pain and then we grasp it and say, pain, 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 pain. What should we do? Squish it, surrender to it, repeat it. No, it's allowed to be there and it's allowed to not be there. It's allowed to move. Experience comes again to life because of this healing factor of peace. Now, what is also coming from that infinite, timeless sky of experience is all the resources of the collective, of all that humans have ever experienced, all the possibilities, all the qualities, all the freedom, with no pressure, no determination that this suffering must not be. Because the suffering that's not allowed to be becomes a secondary, third, fourth degree suffering. It becomes a persecution. It's like enough that we suffer, but then to have our suffering invalidated or tweaked or changed, or someone takes authority over it, or it has to be other than what it is creating another kind of suffering and another kind and another kind and another kind. And what happens to compassion then? When we learn through the psychology of war that suffering cannot be, so what we must do when there's suffering is, when there's a fight, when there's a conflict, suffering is often about conflict. What we do is we conflict with the conflict. We resist the resistance. Somebody is screaming, hate, 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 hate. We all hate him. If somebody's burning the house down, we get petrol and throw it on the fire. And we dissociate from direct experience, from consciousness. Our consciousness fragments, and from a place way out of life, we begin to chatter our opinions and our slogans of who is right and who is wrong. And who is right? This is the craziness. When there's no peace, when the peace is gone, when there's no peace with suffering, the one who's most right is the one that suffers the most. And suffering becomes a commodity. This is all within the psychology of wars. So this one is suffering a terrible attack. People are bleeding over here. Yes, but what about this suffering over here that was there yesterday? Ah, yes, they're suffering, but what about this suffering? And it becomes a competition of suffering within our inner worlds and within our outer worlds. Within our social field, she broke a leg. She broke a leg, but I lost my husband. Oh, you lost your husband? Well, I got a terminal illness. All as if this is validating something, as if this is bringing us to life, like a competition of suffering, which we're in collectively. If you're a victim, then you win. It translates to cash and to moral advantage and to another strategy for war. And with the belief which is being fed to our children is that the one who suffers the most wins the war, wins the game. So how is it possible that this is not going to take us all to hell? How can you win in this situation? It's like, yay, I got the best suffering, the most suffering, so I'm on top. Oh dear, I'm dead. So we split from that, and we literally split the personality. In one side, surrender. Oh, I'm the great victim, suffering, suffering, suffering. And the other side, I am the mighty warrior, and I will avenge all those suffering people. We literally divide and have both narratives going at the same time. And then we get this crazy situation. This is all the psychology of war, from the disconnect from peace, where people are screaming with aggression and hate and with threatening gestures for peace. That the energy of hate is circulating in the name of peace, or in the name of truth, or in the name of as if compassion. That a whole dimension of true nature, all the qualities are getting weaponized as ways to hurt each other more. And of course, because these qualities, even when they're being weaponized and even when they're disconnected, they have a potency, because somewhere deep, 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 deep down, we remember. And we know we're coming to it when we die. And we know it's there. We know that we take it for granted. It's there in the background every time we go to sleep, each time we wake up in the morning, each time we forget that we are somebody. This peace is there in its potency. And so there is this incredible enticement towards it. It's almost charismatic. But it's being used to serve an agenda of suffering by conflicting with suffering and circulating suffering. The psychology of war. In the psychology of war, the basic principle is kill or be killed. Might or right. It's me or him. It's me or you. Pure duality. And as the kill or be killed out there in the field inevitably begins to come home, because it will come home. Everything must come home to love. Everything must come home to peace. Everything will come home to the source of consciousness. This kill or be killed mentality, this constant threat detection, this constant stress of never being safe until this fight comes home, and the kill or be killed becomes an internal event, like an autoimmune thing, where we're literally fighting against ourselves in a perpetual struggle, fighting against our own pain, fighting against the depth of our experience, fearing to be happy, dreading relaxation, despising our own body, doing time in our physical lifetime while fearing death. But still, let's get it over with. Let's get it over with. Let me die already. As if that would bring us peace. As if there's no peace here now. So in a total reversal, as we move into this place of inner peace, and we begin to connect to the inner peace, which is an outer peace, this peace which is prior to understanding, which is beyond belief, which is here, just a thought away in any moment. What can come forward in that pathway back to this boundless, timeless peace is okay, but that's, but, it's not safe, it's dangerous. You've got to stick up, you've got to fight, you've got to know how to surrender sometimes. We have to deal in this world. And the most amazing thing about peace is that it allows all of that. Don't let it be a condition on your way home to peace. We can go to war. Some people in their karma, if they've been in surrender, never fight, at a certain moment, they have to go to war. It's just the nature of duality. They have to go to the other polarity. It's like, yes, I'm at peace. You abuse me, take my house, take my children, shit on my cat, whatever, do it. I surrender. And sooner or later, the moment will come where the monster rises and they go to war. And then the question comes, how to go to war in connection with peace. How to surrender in connection with peace. How to bring in this unconditional factor so that we're able to deal in this world of duality and conflict with wisdom, with the qualities of true nature, informed by something which is deeper and more essential and more true than this constant spiral of pain on pain. This global suicidal human hell loop, which is so prominent at the moment. Okay, I could obviously go on for hours and hours on this, but I let it go for now. we take a 5-minute break and then we'll do a big peace meditation. Okay.
So welcome back, everybody. Let me, oops, one moment. Okay, everything is set now. Was a little bit ambushed, not ready yet. So welcome back into a peaceful meditation, I hope. So if you could find a comfortable position, when you found a comfortable position, I'd like you to connect with your physical body. Just bring your attention, your conscious awareness to the physical body. And maybe you can bring your conscious awareness to where the body is supported, where the body is supported by the floor, the chair, the mattress, the couch. And maybe it's possible to allow your body to rest even more deeply into this support, to relax into this support. And then I'd like you to connect with a symbol of peace, something which is representing peace for you. This could be something from nature, maybe a religious symbol, whatever is representing peace for you. And maybe it's possible to deeply attune to the peace this symbol is representing for you. And of course, if we connect with the sense of peace in our object or symbol, the sense of peace inside ourselves is activated as well. So I'd like you to move to the sense of peace inside yourself. And maybe it's possible to kind of expand this sense of peace inside yourself a little bit. To expand it through the body, towards all the cells of the body. And then I'd like you to move from this experience of peace towards the experience of peace of the symbol or object of your choice. And maybe it's possible to allow or to drink the peace of your symbol or object in. To all cells of the body. And then I like you to connect with the left side of the body. And with the universe at the left side of the body. And then I like you to connect with the peace in the universe at the left side of the body. A peace in the endless universe at the left side of the body. And then I'd like you to connect with the right side of the body. And to connect with the endless universe at the right side of the body. And to connect with a sense of peace in the universe at the right side of the body. Deep peace, the endless universe at the right side of the body. And allow yourself to relax into this endless space of peace. And then we move again to the left side of the body. And a sense of peace in the universe at the left side of the body. And then we move again to the right side of the body. Connecting with the endless universe, the right side of the body. And a deep sense of peace in this universe. And then we move to the center of the body, the center line between the right and the left. In which you can sense both the left and the right side. The left part of the universe and the right part of the universe. Coming together in the center line of the body. A piece of the left side of the universe and a piece of the right side of the universe. Coming together in the center line of the body. And then I'd like you to connect with the universe in front of you. The endless universe in front of you. Maybe you can become aware the happenings in the universe, the galaxies, the stars, and the deep peace, the empty space which is connecting everything. And then I'd like you to connect again with the sense of peace inside yourself. And then I'd like you to connect with the universe behind you. behind your back. This endless, empty universe, with here and there a happening. Or maybe it's possible to feel the depth of peace which is there. The empty spaces of the universe, connecting everything. And then I'd like you to connect again with the center line inside yourself. And with the peace connected with the center line. And try to experience both the universe in front of you and at the back of you. And both the peace in front of you and the peace at the back of you. And let them meet, come together as one in the center line. Okay. And then I'd like you to connect with the peace above you, the universe above you, the endless universe above you. And the peace in the universe above yourself. And I'd like you to connect with the peace underneath yourself. The peace of the endless universe underneath yourself. You're on this little ball in an endless universe, and underneath there is as much universe as there is above. We're connecting with the endless universe below ourselves. And with the sense of peace, this endless universe. And then I like you to connect both with the peace above yourself in the universe and the peace below yourself in the universe, and see where they meet each other inside yourself. And maybe it's possible just to rest in this meeting position. And connect deeply with the peace which is there and always will be there. And then I like you to connect with a situation where there is a conflict. And at the same time, stay in the center of peace. We connect with a situation of conflict with loud letting go of the peace which is always there inside ourselves and around ourselves. Maybe it's possible just to allow this conflict to exist without that you need to be a part of it. We're staying in our sense of peace and are in peace with the conflict. Maybe it's possible to feel the peace which is hidden underneath the conflict. As at the same time we stay in connection with the peace inside ourselves. And then I'd like you to connect with the peace of the universe in front of yourself and the peace of the universe behind yourself. The peace of the universe at your left side and the peace of the universe at your right side. The peace of the universe above you and the peace of the universe below yourself. And try to connect with all of that at the same time. Yay. Well, we're slowly coming back from this extended peace meditation. We say goodbye to the people on the live stream and thank you so much for sharing with us again and being with us. And we hope to experience you next week again. And we take a 5-minute break, and after 5 minutes, there will be some time for questions and sharing, and of course, for the small peace meditation. Peace.